back here with us on Urban Debate on Mirror Now this evening, and I'm joined by former Petroleum Minister of the country, Mr. Veerappa Moily, to discuss the issue of fuel price pain. Remember, for the first time, Prime Minister Modi also reacted on this issue today after a meeting with the chief ministers of various states and union territories on COVID. Mr. Moily, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now this evening. Your reaction to what the Prime Minister said today? He took the names of certain states as well, especially non-BJP ruled states, which did not reduce VAT after centre slashed excise duty on petrol and diesel in November last year. He once again appealed to these non-BJP ruled states to slash VAT and end this injustice to people. How will you like to respond?
I think one thing I should appreciate the Honorable Prime Minister, that he has understood the gravity of the problem. You know, the one side, there is a wholesale price rise, inflation. It's more than, it's about 14.50%. The ultimate victim of all this price rise and also the petroleum price are the consumers, the people of this country. And in the scenario today we are facing is grim, and also everybody should be concerned about it. But the solutions suggested by the Prime Minister, I totally disagree with him. He should understand that, how things are going on. I think he has not been well informed about the position. And the central and state governments levy taxes on fuel. These taxes constitute 55% of the total retailing price of the petrol. In the case of diesel, it is 50%. No other country would have or is levying that much of a high price. This is, despite the wholesale price, inflation catching up and harming the interest of the consumers, the Prime Minister is not bothered about it. He wants to, find a excuse for a blame game on the non-BJP governments, which is not at all correct. The primary difference was the amount of VAT levied by each government. You should understand that. I am not giving all figures. For example, Madhya Pradesh charges 31.55 rupees per litre VAT on petrol. This is governed by BJP. And Rajasthan, which happens to be governed by the Indian National Congress government, levies 21.82 rupees per litre VAT on diesel. I can go on stating that. What he has stated is not a fact. I think you should understand that when our government was there, I was a petroleum minister, excise duty levied was 0.94 lakh. Whereas sales tax and VAT was 1.29. It was higher. You should understand the reality. Now what is the position? 2021, 3.84 excise duty, 3.84 lakh crore on excise duty. Whereas sales tax and VAT, it comes to 2.03 crore per annum. Just imagine. Look at the figure. Central is increasing day by day. Whereas the state has come down compared to the state. So you should think of that. It is the reality. Another question is that, the last 7 years, from 2014, after the NDA government came, they have collected as much as 28.99 lakh crore from the excise duty, the cess, and all other items. Where are we going? Only during last 5 months, when this country was going on elections in the 5 states, it was reduced, it was stagnant. That means to say it is absolutely the decision from central government or the Prime Minister is absolutely political, not concerned with the economic issues.
Okay.
And I don't think, this can continue to grow like this. Yes. Tell me. Any questions?
Okay. But Mr. Moily, Prime Minister Modi also mentioned that center in the month of November, when fuel prices were rising, when fuel prices were on fire, did reduce excise duty by a significant amount on petrol as well as diesel. At that time, some BJP ruled states and some non-BJP ruled states reduced VAT and help the people of this country, because at that time prices were high. Why is it that some non-BJP ruled states that he mentioned did not? According to BJP, the 7 states, including Maharashtra that he named, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra, Kerala and Jharkhand, have actually earned extra revenue, 11,945 crore rupees, as compared to other states who had cut fuel tax. The question is, if some states could cut VAT on petrol and diesel, why could these other states not?
This involves the thorough discussion on the state finances and the central finances. Central, on the GST, Council is concerned. I must tell you that it is more authoritative, non-federal in nature. That is why, the GST also, a lot of harm is done to the states. The states, how do they run it? They should have revenue. You should provide that kind of a solution for the states to mobilize and mop up revenues, which is not done at all. And even the GST payment installments are not, are delayed. It's not released on time. And the whole system, the federal finance, has come under severe attack because of the attack from the central government. They will have to set right a lot of things. It's not mere one issue. The state is not reducing, central is not reducing. That I don't want to make politics out of it. The question is, I think it is high time. The Prime Minister of the country should, particularly on oil and the price rise, he should immediately call the meeting of all the chief ministers, not by virtual meetings, but with the direct personal meetings, discuss the issues and find solutions. He is not to find fault with this state, that state or another state. I told you already, Madhya Pradesh, it is still high as against Rajasthan. Like that I can quote many figures. But this is not the way to manage the finance. This is not to manage the federal government. I think one by one the attack is coming. I must tell you that, the many of those things which I can tell you that even with regard to when I was the petroleum minister, I created 3 caverns to store the crude oil so that in a difficult time we will have the reserve and that can be released and the price can be destabilized. One is at Vizag, another 2 at South Canara and Udupi. And they have not, even though it was due for commissioning during my period itself, they took about 3-4 years to fill up that. That would have saved a lot of things. And government of India at our time, only 1 year we issued the bonds. We collected about 1.34 lakh crores. And only one time. That burden was taken over by the central government. We have not passed over to the central. Then we used to issue the subsidy to stabilize the prices. Even if the price was highest during my period, we kept it as lowest. You compare that figure and this figure today. So that the price rise, fuel price will not hit the real consumers. That was stabilized and we gave the subsidy both from the government and also the oil companies so that we could stabilize the price at that time.
2 arguments, Mr. Moily, Centre has made. No. 2 arguments. One, so 2 arguments that the Centre has made in this regard, and I would like you to respond to those. One, the revenue foregone by Government of India due to fuel tax cut is approximately 1 lakh crore per year after the cut in excise duty. That's one. Second, the Centre also says that the NDA government had to pay for the bonds that you had issued in your era, and that's another huge burden. That is the reason why the center could not slash excise duty on petrol and diesel.
But this is not the fact. I must tell you that the oil bond was introduced during Vajpayee's time. And that was paid by UPA government one, UPA one. Then this time, how much they have paid? Not even 3,000 crores out of 1,34,000 crores. Oil bonds, only once. Thereafter, we directly helped the state, the government of India and also the oil companies. They directly paid this. And gas, I'm telling you, gas cylinder. We used to provide the gas cylinders for the consumers at 350 rupees. Whereas now, it is 1,000 crores per calculation. Like that, I'm telling you, BJP come to power in 2014, a liter of petrol in Delhi cost 71. And liter of diesel cost, and April 22, the latest I'm telling you, 105.41 per liter for the national capital.
But you had a high subsidy bill as well. The subsidy bill has gone down under this government. That's another argument.
Yeah, that was paid by government. No, to stabilize to stabilize the economy of this country, Central has to step in, not allow the prices to rocket up. And that is how the fuel is one tax which skyrockets the consumer's price. Are they getting, 160% rise in food prices, many items? And, where should the people go? Their salary is not increased. That too at a COVID time, when the economy has suffered, employment is disappearing, and, prices are skyrocketing. Who is to come to their help? It is the government of India. It is their duty, which they are not doing. I thought that in the conference which was addressed by Honorable Prime Minister, he should have addressed more on health issues. How they suffered. The WHO report about the more than 50 lakhs deaths which are not accounted here in this country. He should have addressed that. Instead of that, he brings in this subject which in a half-hearted manner, half-boiled manner, and mislead the country. And unnecessarily create the tension between the state to state, and it is an attack, I must tell you, it is an indirect attack on the federal concept, federal cooperation in this country. I think he should be very careful in raising this issue. And creating strains between states and center.
Okay.
It's not a good thing, not conducive for the democratic development of this country.
Okay. Mr. Moily, you've been the oil minister in the country. You understand the dynamics of oil market. Do you think while petrol and diesel tax is an easy source of revenue for center as well as states, do you think it's the right time to bring it under GST? Because neither the states are interested nor the center seems interested in this.
I think this is the right move, and it should be brought under the GST, not to give the vagaries of the economy, vagaries of the weather, how the economy functions, and this may ultimately, if this is the present condition is continued, the federal cooperative concept itself will be destroyed in this country. I think it's high time that let the government of India do that. And let them pass a registration, include it. And I think many states will definitely agree for it. They are inclined to agree. And moreover, the present government of India is not doing much in excavation.
Will Congress-ruled states ask for it in the next GST meeting?
No. Each state may have their own views on that. But ultimately, we'll have to level up. And what is best for the country, I think an expert committee will have to be constituted, and they should come out with a report, and after consulting the state government, they should evolve a formula by which state will, if the states are assured of their revenue, increase in the revenue, I don't think the state will object for it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Veerappa Moily, former Petroleum Minister of the country, speaking exclusively to Mirror Now. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate this evening. Heading into